All right, so today I'm going to be building or working on the startup app. I figured I would just like stream it and actually like be working on it live. Why not? A lot of people have been asking me to show this live, even though the code that you're gonna see is gonna be super shit. I hope maybe I can get some help potentially. We'll see. Um, So yeah, now we're just gonna get started. I don't know how much I'm gonna talk during this or check the chat, but what we're working on, let's switch to the desk plus camera. Okay, great. What we're gonna work on is the database essentially. We're gonna be trying to fix the structure or restructure the database because right now it's not working the way that I want it to work for the final or like for the vision of my app, I guess. So I have an idea for what I want the app to be, and right now I've just set the database up so that it works for what the app is at this current stage, which is not really going to work for what I want the app to become. So essentially, yesterday I spent the entire day almost just thinking, no, not the entire day, a couple hours, if I'm honest. But I just thought through like what is the database structure going to be like, and how do I envision people actually using the app, and how do I build a database structure, I guess, that kind of accommodates for that kind of use. And to be honest, I don't know too much about this, so I don't know how how easy it is to change these things after you've actually published something. But what I wanted to do essentially is avoid having to change things once I've actually published an app. So um, so yeah, this is what I essentially came up with yesterday. When I get an exercise, we need to check. Also, I wanted to make sure that I want to try to make it at least as well as I can make it to be as efficient as possible, because I don't want to do too many calls to the database, since like calling the database essentially takes time. So this is what we need to change. So when I get an exercise, we need to check if the exercise name exists. If the exercise name exists, and this is the idea is essentially for each user to be able to contribute almost to the library of exercise names. So I want the user to have the freedom to be able to come up with their own exercise names. But I also think it's good to have like a database of exercise name pre-existing. And so what I figured is that the users can then be the ones that actually build out this database. So essentially, based on what people use the most, that's what's going to be in the database. And that way you can also then at some point potentially compare yourself against a friend or something like that. So if you do the bench press, you can compare your stats to their bench press stats. And that I think requires the names or something of the exercise to be equal to what the other user has. Although you could probably just do something where you select that I want to compare this particular exercise with my friend's exercise. I don't know how much sense this makes, because I don't know how many of you are actually like, what do you call it? Not invested, but how much insight you actually have in what I'm building. But that is what I'm going to try to do. So I'm going to try to fix this. So when I get an exercise, we check if the exercise name exists. All right, if it exists, we check if the exercise has the user. Okay, if it does, then we get the exercise IDs from the user. Okay, this is when we retrieve an exercise, so we need to add first. When I add an exercise, we first add to the exercise database. Then we check if the exercise name exists. user. All right, so I think I need to write this out just to make sure that I actually understand how it's going to look. So we have exercises, like so. Some sort of ID. And that's going to be linked to an exercise of some kind. So we have the name of the exercise, probably in lowercase letters as well. Doesn't really matter. Name, barbell bench press, users. And then we have a list of all the users that have done this exercise. If it exists, check the user. And the reason for why we want to do this is because we can then calculate how many people have done each exercise. And so one of the reasons for doing this is that it's just a way to create a database of exercises. Not sure if there's maybe something else that we should add into this, but I'm thinking that by doing this, essentially, what we can do is we can calculate based on how many users have done the exercise or have selected this exercise. Based on that, we can calculate the relevance of the exercise. So if we have like suggestions of exercises when you search for something, then this could be like a ranking system. So the more people that have actually done the exercise, the higher up the exercise will rank when you search for, like when you type in BB, for instance, barbell bench press will come up highest because 3 people have done it compared to another exercise that starts with BB, which maybe only 2 people have done. So not sure if that's like a good way to do that, but that could be a way for, I guess, like dynamic database creation from the users. And once we have that, we then have a user. And the user then has a list of exercise IDs, exercises, and this is a list of these IDs. So they've basically done that. Okay. And okay, so it seems like I haven't really thought this through well enough, because now I don't really understand what I wrote down here yesterday. Essentially what I want to be able to do is this thing here. So the goal of the whole thing is to be able to essentially, well, essentially if I can copy an exercise of another user, so if some other users add an exercise and then I add that same exercise, then I want to be able to get things that are specific to what that user has done, so like the rep sets and all that stuff, but I want to get the weight that's specific to me instead. So I don't want to, for instance, right now what it does is that we save each exercise specific to each user. So each user then has like, okay, for this particular exercise on this particular day, I did 10 reps and I did it at 100 kilos, let's say. And what I want to do then is for another user to be like, okay, I want to repeat that workout that person did. And so what that person should then get is the 10 reps, but not the 100 kilos. It should instead get the weight that's like related to their, like, So if 100 kilos for user A was like 80% of their 1 rep max, then for user B, 80% of their 1 rep max might not be 100 kilos, it might be 80 kilos. So instead of the user just getting like, okay, 10 reps at 100 kilos, it should get 10 reps at 80%, because that was what it represented for the user A. And for that to be possible, I don't know. I suck at database things or like structuring things like that. I've never done that before. So let's see. Goal. User A does 10 reps at 100 kg. User B Okay, so user B repeats user A workout. Which means that Right, so I'm trying to think if like I actually need this thing for the database. Like I potentially, or whether I need like a user-generated database of exercise names. All right, so I think I understand how I need to do this. So if we want user A to be able, or user B rather, to be able to do the same exercise with the same stimulus as user A did, then we basically need to save also a percentage for each exercise so that we can just retrieve user A's exercise from the database, and then we'll see that, okay, for user A's exercise, the percentage of their 1 rep max that they used for that exercise was 80%. And then, wait, actually, fuck. This needs to be saved for this. Oh, it doesn't matter. So that we can then just calculate what the weight will be for user B instead of just getting a set weight from the database. I don't know if this makes any sense. Like, it's super complex to be doing this for me. So explaining it might not be as super easy. Okay. So when an exercise is saved, All right, so let's see if this still works now. What I've done, let's see, what have I done? Okay, so I've basically just added another value to a class that I have for each set. So each set is essentially a class. And so if I add a new exercise here, barbell bench press, then, okay. So here we're printing something, which is, I believe that this is, this thing, I think. So for some reason it's printing 0. Let's just make sure that it's actually that. Hello plus .toString. Okay, run it again. Okay, so as you see, it prints hello and 0.0, so it means that it doesn't actually set the weight here for some reason. But the percentage here updates properly, so not sure about that. How come? Okay, so now let's go on a printing spree. Sets dot weight, just to make sure that it actually has some data there. Also print max dot weight. Okay, because probably something here is 0. $90. Okay, so seems like the sets.weight variable is 0 for some reason. Okay, so up here it is 0. Why is that 0? So let's try to print this to see what happens. Dot weight. $16.90. Okay, that's really good. So let's print the percentage then. If we do max weight. Okay, 0.6, 0.88. But it should print 3 times. Why does it not print the 3rd time? $59.79. Okay. Which is over. Let's just say that that actually doesn't change anything, because I think what happened is that we're not actually, or what I'm actually accessing in my sets widget. What I'm actually accessing here, max.weight, is actually just the max weight that I've done, so not the calculated potential 1 rep max. So if we do the exercise here, then you can see that my max weight that I've actually done is 90 kilos, which is what we get here, which is the actual weight of the max. But that's not what we want to calculate the 1 rep max or estimated 1 rep max on. We want to actually calculate what would the potential 1 rep max be if I've done 5 reps at 90 kilos. And so that is actually what I do here in the max builder thing. Here, I actually calculate what the potential 1 rep max is, and then I set the 1 rep max to be that. But now I've added so that we can actually access the 1 rep max variable here from this one. So then oh yeah. So now all we need to do is go set widget and access the max dot 1 rep max. Okay, let's not do this. Let's do this instead. Void set percentage double percent set dot percentage equals percent. Okay. Widget dot exercise dot sets widget dot id dot percentage equals percent. Okay, and now we also need to add a method here that calls back to the set percentage method. Set percentage, set percentage. So then the max builder needs to have, well, let's take this and move that here. And let's do that. All right, and now function question mark set percentage. This set percentage. And then down here we can do the widget callback. So widget dot set percentage. Why can't we do that? Okay. Widget dot weight divided by 1 rep max. Okay, I think that should work now. So if we go back to the set widget here, we can print the percent. And if we run it again, it should now work, I think. All right, so it printed the percentages, and the percentages here correspond to the percentages that you see here. 59, 59 here, 79, 89. Okay, so that's good. Now we have that working. What happens if we save this? Okay, let's see what happens if we save it. Firebase. All right, so I don't want to show you the Firebase thing because I don't know if I can actually show that or if there's some like information there that's confidential that could break my database. I have no idea, but this is what we get in Firebase in the Firestore thing. So now, as you can see, there's a variable here called percentage that actually saves the percentage of the exercise. So what we can do now is we can make it so that once I want to load someone else's exercise, I can make the percentage be the like dominating factor. So the percentage is more important than the weight, which means that if we have a percentage here, then the weight will get calculated instead based on the user that's actually downloading the thing, instead of just the weight being set. So that's good. That saves now perfectly. Now let me think again. I'll move my camera to the corner because I guess you guys can't see what it actually prints when I have written that. So that's a shame. Should have thought about that, but didn't. Okay. So that now works the way that I want it to work. Let's remove the print so that we don't have unnecessary prints, which I still have a ton of. Okay, so I load the exercise from there. How does it work when we load an exercise? Okay, so let's think about this. I need to think through like what happens when an exercise loads so that it doesn't. I need to make sure that it actually updates the numbers based on who loads the exercise, so that we don't essentially, so that we don't like, okay, we store an exercise with a specific percentage or with a specific weight or whatever in the database, but then when I retrieve it, since I'm retrieving an exercise that's connected to a specific user, I don't want to retrieve the exact data that that user has, and I don't want to calculate my weight based on that user's weight. So I need to think through and make sure that we don't accidentally build a system where we like load the data for that specific user. We need some parts of the data needs to be specific to that user, but some parts of the data needs to update based on the user that's actually retrieving it. So the reps and the sets should be equal to the same as the user that you're loading from, but the percentage and the weight should be unique to the user, or should be unique to the user that's actually loading the exercise. So sometimes it feels like you just have to say these things a couple times before you can actually understand what you need to do. So in the to-do, reps and sets should be equal, weight and okay, so now I think I understand. So actually everything should be equal and the weight doesn't matter, because the weight is something that if there is a percentage that exists, then we'll just recalculate the weight based on the percentage. So okay, set widget. Some max builder here. So essentially here, if the exercise doesn't have a percentage, then we'll, is that the way that we should do it? I think so. Then we should do exactly what we've done before. Else if, or rather just else. Else, return the same thing for now. void set weight. Actually, this is not where we should do anything. I just realized. That's why it was difficult to come up with it. What we should do is wherever the weight is here, which I think is a second, get text field 2, type 2. Okay, let's just run this, see what happens. Redo. Okay. Double is not a subtype of string. Where does this error occur? Document blah 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 exercise card.dart 72.5. Okay. Let's see. Stupid mistake. The number that I'm putting in should be a string, just because that's what I pass to that method normally. So let's see. No check up. Okay. That's because the 1rep max is now 0, I believe, or not set, potentially. Okay, so let's remove that. What if I do something different? So in here instead, set weight. Let's try the set weight. Set max builder function set weight. Okay. If widget dot Okay, so we have a percentage that comes in. Imagine, okay, let's think. Okay, so I think this is actually what we should do, is if the type is equal to 2, wait. Oh. The thing is that I don't want to have to call the database again. And what I could do is I could do something like, okay, if it's the right one, then we could basically just go, okay, get one rep max from the database, and then once we get the one rep max, then we can just set the weight to be equal to get one rep max, and then multiply that by the percentage. But the reason that I don't want to do that is because we already called the database in here, and I feel like I don't know, I don't feel like this is the best solution to do that. Maybe, not sure. Okay, I think maybe that's the like what I actually have to do, to be honest. Yeah, so let's do that. Result, one rep max, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so right now, like, what I'm thinking about is the fact that, like, in this max information thing that I have here, this class, I basically set the one rep max for the exercise that or the set that we're on. So I find whatever the one rep max is, and I set that, and then I send back the calculated percentage, and then that's what we set as the percentages here. So if we view this workout, we can see that we get the percentages here. So essentially, this line that you see here is what sets this percentage. And so what I could do here is I could essentially find the percentage of the set that we get from the database. And then I could say that the weight of the set should be equal to this, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is that it's sort of like the one rep max, I guess, is calculated based on the weight. And then the weight will be calculated based on the one rep max. It's like we're doing the same thing twice almost. So it's not really changing anything. But really what we want is the yeah, this is difficult. Okay, I think maybe a good way to explain is that we're, like, in this line here, we're setting the percentage of the set based on what the weight of the set is. But what I also want to do is I want to set the weight of the set based on what the percentage of the set is, which means that it's like a catch-22. The way that it's written right now, there's a catch-22. Where it's like the percentage will always be based on what the weight is, and the weight will always be based on what the percentage is. But what we want, I think, is that the weight should be based on what the percentage is. Right? The weight should be based on what the percentage is. So here we're setting the percentage. But this is the only place where we can set the percentage as well, I think. What if we set the weight? Set weight widget.percent times 1 rep max. Okay, so right now it seems like what I need to do is like if the set is a loaded set from someone else, then we want to be able to set the weight of the set. All right, so let's see if this works. If I go into the database now, let's see here, and I basically remove the weights of each exercise so that we don't have a weight set. 0 update. I'm sorry you guys can't see this, but that's because I'm not sure if I can show it. 0 update. All right. So now if we run this and we try to redo that workout, what happens? Okay. Type int is not a subtype of double. Okay. Maybe I need to make sure that they are 0 update. Zero. Type int is not a subtype. Workout data.dart 108. Okay, so that's not where the error occurs. So I'm not really sure what the error is, because the error says that it occurs in a place where it definitely does not occur, or it occurs there, but it's just that it's very unspecific, because a lot of stuff happens after that occur, or after they say that the error occurs. So let's... Okay, so now for some reason none of it works. Set weight. Alright, this doesn't make any sense. Now I've basically removed everything that I added, and for some reason there's still a bug. So not sure about that. Okay, so that still did not work. Fuck. Set widget, max builder. Let's do some. Okay, let's see if we can actually open up a different workout and see if that works. Nope, so now none of it works. Oh my god, this makes no sense. Let's see what I've changed. To JSON, blah, blah, blah. Hmm. All right, so I don't know. I don't seem to be able to figure this out right now, and I'm super hungry. So I'm gonna call it a day here and come back some other time. But yeah, I'm gonna try to keep doing these streams anytime I'm like working on the app, so that we can have like, I don't know. I think it might be nice to have like a live build out so that you can go back and like watch me actually build the full app for the startup live. Even though a lot of the things are going to be pretty much like this, not super interesting to watch, where I just sit and like think a lot in quiet or in silence, I mean. So yeah, I guess let me just do this, switch over to a better view. All right, so yeah, I guess that's it for today, but I hope you enjoyed this stream either way. And like I said, I'm going to try to do it a little bit more. I've been like away from this for a while now. So yeah. Oh my God.